Hello and welcome to Experiences and Perspectives, the podcast where we explore and reflect on how to live a healthy, joyous, and creative life. I'm your host Siddharth Srivastav, and our today's topic is education versus life goals. And to discuss this topic, I have our guest Isaura Souza from Brazil. She's passionate about philosophy, psychology, and education. She's aiming to become an educational innovator. Other than that, she's a professional equestrian player and is applying for a college in US right now. So she's the perfect guest to discuss this topic. So let's begin with it. We both are from the different places. I'm from India and you from Brazil, with Portuguese as your mother tongue and me as Hindi and as my mother tongue. So there's gonna be a lot of differences between us over education as well as the differences we get as in terms of our life goals. So let's begin the conversation. So first question I would like to ask you is, what do you think about the education system prevailing in your country? Does it favor the life goals of does it favor the complete growth of the students, or is it just to get a degree?
So the school system here in Brazil has a great difference between public schools and private schools in terms of professors' knowledge. I mean, the professors that have their masters and etc., they go to private schools that pay better, even though they don't really pay that much. But also in terms of general structure. But still, even the private schools, they have a very strict system that's basically designed to make students go to university. Yes, as you said, get a degree. And yeah, university is also a very strict place where you don't have space to explore. You gotta know what you want to do before you get there. And yeah, that's basically it. And the families also expect that their kids aren't necessarily going to university. So much so that, and especially in high school, we spend like so much time learning how to pass the exam, which is the only thing that can get you in university, that we don't actually think on why we wanted to go there, which I don't think it's totally wrong, because yes, a degree is a good way to get stability in life, but it's a view that is a bit outdated, I would say, because a little time ago, this was definitely the only way to get stability. Today, it's not anymore. I am confident with a high school degree that I could provide for myself. Yes, have a life with not a lot of comfort, but I could provide for myself, and for me, that would be more important than following a path that's not mine.
Yeah, as you said, it's same as you mentioned about your school system. Here also, our complete schooling goes in to get good marks in 10th and 12th. Like there is a board system. We have boards in 10th class, 10th standard and 12th standard. And after completing 12th, we get to either university or college. So our first priority for every parents and teachers is that we get a good grade in our 10th and 12th, and then get to a degree. And when we complete our schooling, we realize that we don't have any skill to be ourselves. Like that's just the beginning, or I would say we just passed the eligibility criteria to learn anything. And all we learn in the schooling is just like there's no need of that things. We study history, geography, science, physics, biology, and I don't think much of them are into use at the present moment. I think they teach us with the mentality that these are the basics which every person needs to know. But I don't think that's a basic necessary, because basic necessary are the things which we learn from experiences. We know how to live, and while experiencing things, we would come to know much more things. But reading the history books, why did this battle took place? Why is this volcano erupting for so long? And why is this economics going down and up? What is the need of that at the moment while we are at the age of learning how to increase our communication skills, how learn how to explore things, and still at the moment we are learning the dates of the wars. What, what were the reign of those kings? What's the need of that? Do you remember anything from your history classes?
I mean, I guess I might remember something, but what I most remember is actually of the classes of one teacher I had who understood the importance of experience in classroom. So he would take us and he would like call a name from one of the kids, and he would say, imagine like this, and then he would go and give us a situation, a historical situation, and would ask us what we would do so that we could understand the vision of the people of that time. And this demonstrates perfectly to me that we learn much more of how we learn, of how people around us act, of how the teachers pose themselves to us, than of the things that we are actually taught in the subjects. So yeah, we should live much more. Just like you said, some people say that the curriculum we learn are the basic things we need, but I mean, there is so much within history, within biology. Those things that we learn in super detail, who decided that those specific things are the important things, you know? I also don't think they are. Yes, learning history is important to be a responsible citizen, maybe, but it's much more about learning how to think critically within history than, as I said, names of kings or days of battles.
Yeah, definitely. The names of the kings, and still, the history is taught, I guess, for being connected with the culture we share with our ancestors. But in many countries, like for mine, as India remained under Britain, so much of the history which we read in the schools is manipulated. We don't read the exact text which happened. We are the first history minister, the first education minister which was appointed in India was a British citizen, and he manipulated the history what the new generations of the Indians need to know. But we don't know what actually happened. Like there's a famous quote from somewhere: history is just the way rich people wants to depict their doings, and that's is happening right now. History, we read the battles of, like in India, the Mughals were ruling our country for since 1500s to 1800s, mid 1800s, and that is considered as the glorious period of Indian history according to the current history books. But in reality, they were the ones who destroyed the culture which India had for the past thousands of years. And but it was designed by a Britisher, and we don't know what really existed. So it's most of the things are manipulated, and I don't think that we need to learn the manipulated history. Where's the need of being learning those things and learning nothing from it? What do you think?
Yeah,
Your history is also manipulated like that?
precisely. Even if no one like wrote something that didn't happen in the books, at the end it's the winners who write the history, right? We only see one point of view. I mean, we see for, I don't know, maybe 1 year we learn about the history of actually Brazil, learn for very little time about the people that lived here before the Portuguese came, and all the rest of the time we learn about European history. Of course, Europeans, because they colonized the world, they are important somehow. But I mean, are they so much more important than the
The
culture
natives.
from the natives? Yeah, exactly. Because we are totally a
Yeah.
mixture. We are mixture of the natives here. We are a mixture of the Africans who came as slaves. So yeah, their culture is important too. But I don't remember anything I learned about Africa, to be honest. I mean, I may have studied a bit, but so yeah, again to the point, who decides what matters? I don't think that's a really thought of decision, not in the best intention for the students, right? But
Yeah.
we talked here a bit about our school systems, a bit of the problems. Should we add in the life goal part? I mean, okay, school doesn't teach us much of life skills, but is it
Yeah.
maybe possible that it teaches us to be stable people in the future, to have money, to be happy? What do you think about that?
About that, I think it teaches us the general skills that uh, I think the most important thing the school system does is that it lets you know about what are the different things which have scope to learn in the future. Like it teaches the basics of computer system, and when someone gets interested in those things, he will dive deeper into it and explore the different possibilities that particular domain has. And history, we learn about basic history, which is manipulated as we know, but still if someone gets interested in that, he may dive deeper into it and learn about the different scopes he have by learning history, being an archaeologist, being a museum, learn from history, art, or literature. Like literature, the subject which I find the most interesting due to the fact of my creativity. I used to learn history as well. History wasn't really boring for me, but after I got to know that all of that what I read was manipulated, then I began to realize that I was loving the wrong thing. But history, when I was in the school, it was just literature, the stories of kings fighting battles and different things going on. So I learned history and literature as a part of like it's the learning, real learning. From the literature stories, we learn everything. Every story has some meaning in it, and that's what teaches how to be ourselves and how to take different point of views for the world. And the rest of the things, it's not of any use. Like physics, yeah, we need the basic physics to understand what's going around, the different motion, different laws of Newton. But it's the chemistry part. Who ever needs that? The chemistry is like a bane. Bane is good or bad? The worst thing ever created by humans. Cause actually I had to study chemistry, all the reactions, organic chemistry. There are three parts of chemistry: organic, inorganic, and one more that I forgot. I really want to forget everything about chemistry because it's the worst thing. While preparing for this the entrance exam for my current university, we have only three subjects to study: physics, chemistry, and mathematics. And to become an engineer in the government college from India, we need to study three subjects and get to the give the exam, which is considered among the toughest exams across the world, and is the third toughest exam in my country. That we give and we study. Maths is okay, we can understand it. Physics is okay, we can understand it. But chemistry, where's the logic? Why the hell do we need those things? And still we have to learn it. And when we come to engineering college, first thing that professor tells us is that forget everything you have learned till now. Where's the logic in that? We spent 14, 15 years of our life learning our schoolings and doing our schoolings and learning everything, and there's no need to of all those things after getting to the university. Where's the logic behind learning all those skills? The same for you,
Yeah,
I guess.
exactly. Here's the same.
You are
Except
still at the school.
that yeah, actually, I finished school last year, in a gap year.
You're gonna
So-
face the same things the next year.
yeah, exactly. But I mean, I would disagree a bit with you about chemistry being illogical and not useful. But I have to agree that it is as much useful as many parts of biology or like any other subject that we learn much more deeper than we are ever gonna need. And I mean, you, for being an engineer, you said you need to learn math, physics, and chemistry. Okay, you need to learn calculus, logical thought. Maybe there's some thought behind that. But then, as you said, the teachers tell you to forget everything. So those things that you learned, they may help you become an engineer because they help you pass the exam, but they don't make you actually a better engineer. You know, wouldn't it have been better if you had learned, for example, sociology, so that you learn how to apply your engineering skills to make the world better, or any other kind of logical thought, any other way of thinking logically, so that you become a creative engineer and can innovate, right? Of course you need the maths, but why is that more important, or any more important than learning how to use the math skills to actually make the world a better place, right?
That's the main thing which our education system misses. We learn what are the things. We don't learn what are the applications of those things. We
Precisely.
learn no applications we know. We come to know about those applications only after we get to the college and see what our professors teaches. And I think that's the wide gap, the application part, which we need to learn that in school only. Only then we could get some ideas about we can create something. Like the entrepreneurship culture is going on right now. It is mostly occupied by college and university students. But if we used to get those ideas in schooling only, then school students have got better ideas, I guess, because that's the time when our brain is most active. So that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. So before you mentioned one thing school does kind of right is presenting to us different subjects, and which gives us, say, the little experience among those things to understand the things that we like. I think that is interesting. We should be exposed to a large amount of things when we are children so that we can, as you said, understand ourselves. But the huge problem is that, one, we are not given the time to actually think about what we like about ourselves. We're not given the tools to do that. Nobody teaches how to get to know ourselves, right? And once we find out, we have no incentive to actually pursue those things. So the only thing the school does a bit right by teaching us so many random things, I think, is actually a byproduct, something that nobody intended, because it's not done correctly, you know. So that's something that also makes zero sense.
What do you think is the role of our parents during our school time, schooling and everything around that? They also force us to study more, get good grades, don't focus on your passion, just get the good grades and you will be happy. And that when we realize that the happiness which they were talking about was fictional. That happiness was the eligibility to get another happiness, which again is an eligibility to get another happiness. And there's no end of this thing. What do you think
Precisely.
is the role of our parents?
I
For
think
you, and then I will say about me.
I could go back to a point I mentioned in the beginning, that this idea of like studying hard, going necessarily to university right after you finish high school, that is not necessarily a wrong idea, but not outdated one. When our parents were our age, it was really university the only way of being stable. Work was a very different thing. You could not be an entrepreneur. There was no space for that. Or, I mean, of course, there were some, but there wasn't this culture, right? So if you did your high school right, you could go to college, you could get a degree, you could get a stable job, then you could provide for your family, and that's what was considered happiness. Because of course, if you have no stability, you can't be happy. The difference is that today, whether you go to university or not, you have the possibility to choose what you're gonna work in, right? And so you can do the two things at the same time. You can follow your passion, and you can have stability, right? Many people who try this actually fail still, even though the world is more open to that. But then I think we go back to another problem at school. We don't learn how the work system, the market works, right? And so we don't know what makes a job profitable or not. We don't learn how to make our talents a profitable thing. If we did learn, then we could obviously follow our passions and be stable, which is the great preoccupation of our parents, the reason why they want us so much to focus on grades, right?
Yeah, like it was same for me all this time. Like this engineering thing, it was like my parents were, they told me and they persuaded me somehow to drop out for a year, study hard, qualify the entrance exams, and get to the college. Because in India, the college which I am in and the different colleges of this category are considered as a very good category, good colleges, and anyone who studies good here gets good, well placed. So that's the main intention of every parent. We need to take PCM after completing 10th, then after 12th, give the JEE exams, get to the college, study hard, get placement, then you will be happy. And now after coming here, we find that those people who got placed, they are having a stable job, high package, but still they are not happy. And let me tell you one thing. I'm aiming to be a software engineer, and software engineer is the highest paying job in the world, as well as it's the highest depressing job in the world. Most of the people in the software field get depression in at max 5 to 6 hours of 6 years of working in this field. And I'm aiming to, I along with a lot of people all across the globe are aiming to get into this field for all their life and get depressed. Who the hell would call this a happiness or peace? And that's it is going on. And our parents, I would not call it a fault of their fault, because they thought that money is very important thing. That definitely is. So, and what they see is what is the job which pays the highest, and that's software engineer. You become an engineer, you learn coding, you get a good job, and you will be happy. What about the mental peace? We get money, Yeah, we have got money, we can pay our bills, we can enjoy luxury life, but what about our brain? Really, let me tell you, while doing coding, it's our brain which gets drained up. We, a person does 2 hours of 5 hours of gym, and software engineer does 2 hours of coding. He is completely drained at same level. Just it's physical and it's mental, and mental is more problematic. And still, we are aiming for that. But parents, for me, as I told you earlier, I'm I'm aiming to be a writer. I'm working on it day hard. I'm trying to balance with my college as well as that. But I can't let them know that I'm working on my passion. I'm working on my book. Or if they will come to know about that, it's gonna be a nightmare for me. So that's their thinking. What do you
Yeah,
think is it going in your parents' mind at the moment? Because I know you have got um, ideas different from theirs.
yeah. Well, my parents, I actually am lucky in a sense because you know that my dad has a horse riding school,
Yeah.
and I work with him in that. I am an athlete since I'm very young, and that was basically what I was set up to be professionally, a show jumping athlete, right? So that is already not a very common job, let's say. And so to transition to that from something not so common, which I want to do, that is educational innovation through social entrepreneurship, is not the same as transitioning, for example, in your case, from engineering to writing. Still, they have that same mentality. At least my dad, my mom is a bit more open, let's say, that I should get a degree that has a profession tied to it, a specific profession, because I want to go to the United States, right? And there are many. Their college is a bit more for exploration, and there you don't need. I mean, if you have, say, a psychology degree, you're not necessarily gonna be a psychologist who has their office. I forgot what will be the office of a doctor. But anyway, and treats people. There is much more room for working in different companies, helping them with how people work, so that because psychologists know a lot about how people operate, so they can work basically in any company for making the environment better. But in the United States, you can also create your own degree if you want, because they have this mentality. You don't have to get a degree that is precisely tied to a profession, and that's something I think I'm thinking about doing, but I'm not telling my dad because that mentality he still has. I mean, yes, I can go to college, I can experiment while I'm there, but if I told him that I'm thinking of getting a degree that, like, he doesn't know what I can do with that, he's not gonna be exactly happy. Because of that, he's gonna believe I'm not gonna have stability. But I have a phrase that I really believe in. It's like a philosophy of life that goes like this: life may have a few prerequisites, right? But it does not have a mandatory finishing line. So at the same time, you have all of your time to achieve the things that you want, right? But it makes no sense to spend a single second not working towards those things or figuring out what they are in case you don't know. And what would be those prerequisites, right? It would be the stability, the house to live in, the food. But I mean, today that is for us who are privileged, who have parents with enough money to give us some education and to support us throughout college. That is something that we already have. If you decide to drop out of college today, I am sure that you have the resources to provide for yourself a simple life, probably myself the same. But we would have these prerequisites, and I see no sense, as I said, in once you have that, spending more time doing something else that is not your path. And something else I wanted to add, you were saying your parents want you to get this degree and work in software engineering because they think this is how you're going to be happy. Then to be happy, you are doing something on the side, right? You are working at midnight. You are depriving yourself from sleep because this is what actually gives you happiness. Now imagine if we lived in a world in which when you discovered this passion in school, your teachers, they were like, okay, you wanna work with writing. Let's look at the lives of some writers that got stability. Let's see what they did. Okay, this is a path. This is a path that seems kind of safe, right? Now, let's see what are some other things that you may need to know to provide for yourself, to have those basic abilities to provide for yourself in case this doesn't go right. And, right, general life skills. And then you studied there, and you studied writing, and you started publishing because I'm sure there are, for example, writing competitions or magazines that publish kids' books or kids' writings. And then you started your social media already, and you started creating a bond with people who like what you do. Imagine where you would be at this point, right? After all those years working towards this. And you could maybe realize that was actually not for you, or you could change. But if the school had, instead of taught you about all that physics, mathematics, chemistry, actual life skills, right? You would be okay. You could change your career because you could provide the basics for yourself, and then you would be happy working towards this new thing, which is your new passion, because that's actually what gives you happiness, not the luxury working on a job that you don't like, because you work like a third of your time. Another third you spend sleeping. Then the third you use for eating, for being with friends, resting. If you are gonna follow your passion only for that time that's left, I mean, how can you possibly be happy?
Mentioned, I got some goosebumps from my past experiences which I had about my writing and my parents. I would share that experience with you later, but I'm okay now. Definitely, if I had started those things, I got those skills earlier, few years back, then I would be a great podcaster, a great writer. I would have a book written, more books written. Now I'm getting futuristic. Okay, let's come in the present. Okay, I was thinking about this thing a few hours back, that in all the books and in all the motivational speeches and different books written for self-motivation, self-help, and different entrepreneurs which get success, they speak about follow your passion without caring about anyone else. And I find this statement a bit faulty, without caring about anyone else, because they do like the entrepreneurs which get success, they really do everything to follow their passion and don't care about anyone speaking against them, anyone being with them or being without them. They just focus on their goal. But for me personally, I can't do that because for me, every person around me has an impact on me. My parents, I would I would not like them to hate me for me following my passion. I would rather like them to. I would better try to keep that thing a secret from them until I get success from it. And while keeping it a secret, I can't really give 100% to it because I have to keep a balance with everything. And that I think is really a scary thing because I can't completely focus on my passion, rather completely focus on my goals according to my parents because that's not giving me happiness. So what are your thoughts over this? Can we really give our 100% to our passion, or we need to balance between those things because our parents are actually our first priority, later comes our passion, for me personally.
Yes. Family or anyone close to us, they have an impact. That's not something we can deny. Besides, our parents, they are providing for us, so we do owe them some respect and some thought to the things they think, right? So yeah, I also don't believe that you can say whatever my parents think, I'm gonna do my thing. But I think parents actually need to realize that the times have changed. But this is a slow process. This is a culture thing, right? When we have kids, our culture is going to be different. Maybe they will have more freedom. Maybe the world is going to be so different that we're going to have the same problems, we never know. I know, I'll hope not. We never know, right? But in that case, what do we do? Well, I would say, yes, we have to find a balance. And how do we find that balance? We do the things that our parents see as our obligations, such as school, in our case, university, and we do them well. We do the basic things at home. We don't expect that our parents have to wake up us every morning, especially for people in school still, right? We wash our dishes. We don't leave our room a mess. These are the things that give us credibility, One mistake that I see, especially teenagers do, is that they want to be free. They want to, go to parties. Some others want to follow a passion that their parents don't approve of, but they don't demonstrate that they have maturity to make the decisions for themselves. Right? So the first thing for finding this balance is do the minimum and show your parents you are actually a grown-up, even though you are still a teen, because you can be. And then they're gonna start giving you credibility, and then you start bringing up the topics in mature ways. You start telling them what you feel. You use arguments that are actually have logic, such as some of the arguments we have mentioned here, instead of just getting angry and
blaming,
going to your room and blaming them. Yeah, exactly. And that is the way I believe you can kind of do both things. Some parents won't support you anyway. Yeah, that's true. And if that is the case, unfortunately, you are gonna have to do kind of what you're doing right now, Siddharth. But if there is a chance that is the chance, this I told you about, getting credibility and talking to them in a mature way and bringing the topic slowly and frequently, showing them that you can have success by actually doing things and not simply leaving everything behind, everything else, leaving a school, but also instead of following your dreams, staying on social media, So yeah, I think it's kind of a responsibility of yours. If you want to have their support, you gotta show yourself responsible, and you gotta bring the topic. Once you did that maturely, you did the best you did. If they don't support you, then yes, you are gonna have to go on your own, and then turn to your friends. You have more people. At your side. But I think you do have to give some thought. You do have to try before you say whatever, mom and dad.
Yeah, because we don't have the we are not we don't have the right to speak anything against them. Really, I don't think that I have any capability, because I haven't done anything for them till now. Everything I am is because of them, so I can't blame them for anything. But because everything they have provided, but if I am unable to get a stable position, then I would have no one else to blame other than me. So there comes what I call a balance. Balance between what our passion is and what their passion for us is. That's what I'm doing right now. Working on both the ways. And it's really fun. And I think one more thing is very important, that while following our passion, if luckily our parents agree with us, or if unluckily they don't agree with us in any proportion at the moment, but we still continue to follow our passion to some extent, then I believe that when the day comes when we get the success in that field, our parents are definitely gonna approve us, and they are gonna love us for following our passion, because that will make them really happy that their children got succeed in what he or she pursued for.
Precisely.
I think I think that would be the greatest moment for that person who followed his dream.
Yes. And now that you're mentioning, like, when you get success with your passion, you are definitely gonna have your parents' approval. I wanna bring in a new topic to make our discussion a little less about passions and dreams simply, and a little more practical, let's say, because I like this topic quite a lot, like pursuing things that you want, and so much so that I have that life philosophy I told you about. But frequently when I bring this up, people around me, they think I'm living an illusion. They don't think this is actually possible. They don't think, as I told you, that the idea of following that exact path, school, high school, college, it doesn't matter if you don't know what you want, and then a stable job, and they think they don't think this idea is an outdated one. So I want to bring here the topic of purpose, which is something that kind of grounds it a bit. And beginning with what is purpose, because if I just say purpose, everyone is still gonna believe what I just told you, that this is an illusion. The word purpose have a mysticism to it that I gotta break down before I go any deeper. So there is a psychologist called William Damon, and he has a book called The Path to Purpose, in which he analyzes highly successful young people in most different fields, and he tries to understand what makes them successful. But the success he looks at is not monetary, is causing a high impact, right? A high positive impact, which generally gives you monetary success, and then being happy as well. And so he analyzes these people to see what they do, and what they have different from others is what he calls purpose. But a purpose is not the same as a dream, which is the illusionary part. Because a dream is, there's a phrase that says, a goal is a dream with dates, or something like that. The idea is that a dream is something you would like to do, you would like to have, but you never actually do anything concrete about it. You don't have a plan. You may say you want to be a singer, and then, I don't know, you think about this, you watch things about singers, but you never actually put in the work to see what successful singers do and what would be a path to become a singer. So that is just a dream, right? And if you put dates to it, you would have goals, right? And this dream will become, say, the biggest goal. But what makes purpose different from goal? Purpose is something that goes beyond the self, right? Is when you bring together the things that you like, the things that you are good at, and the things that people around you can use or need. That is when you find your purpose. Because when you have those things, you are good, so you're gonna stand out, you're gonna be happy, you're gonna be doing something for other people, which is scientifically proven one of the key things for being happy. And because people need you, you are gonna have probably monetary success, right? So that is purpose. Purpose is not something mystic. It's not something that you were given spiritually, and here not being disrespectful to spirituality. I mean, I just want to say it's not something that comes from anywhere. It's something that needs work and that is actually palpable. The purpose doesn't appear to you. You work and on yourself, you learn about yourself and you learn about the world, and then you find something which can become your purpose, right? And now that we have covered this, I wanna talk about something called the Ikigai. The Ikigai is a Japanese concept, which is basically life purpose, which means basically life purpose. Yeah, I think it's a book that should be read. I will definitely read. But what I know, the little I know about the concept is already really interesting. So yeah, Ikigai means basically life purpose. And it is represented as a diagram with different circles that intersect. And each part of the diagram represents something that you have. For example, one of them represents what you love. One of them represents what you are good at. The other, what the world needs. And the fourth, what you can be paid to do. Right? So when you put together what the world needs and what you can be paid to do, they say it's your vocation. When you put together what you love and what the world needs, they say it's your mission. When you put together what you are good at and what you love, they say it's your passion. and when you put together what you're good at and what you can be paid to do is your profession. And when you are able to put all those things together, that is a life purpose, and that makes sure that you are going to have everything you need to be successful in that way that is not just monetary and neither I mean, I don't think anyone says you are successful if you follow your passion but you don't have any stability, right? Because you do what you love and what you were good at, so you were happy in that sense. Being good at and having the ability to be paid to do that will give you the stability that you need, because it's something you also need to be happy. And having doing something that the world needs, as I said before, is gonna make sure people need you, and so you are gonna have people that are going to pay you to do the thing that you can be paid to do, right? So yeah, if you have doubts on whether you can or not follow your passion and be stable, don't be just a dreamer. Learn about the Ikigai. Learn more about yourself. Make sure that passion of yours is actually something you would like to do as a profession, and that you're not just seeing that in a romanticized way, because that is very common. For example, many kids especially, think they want to be, say, singers or football players. And the truth is, they see those people in the media and they see they are famous, they have money and do cool things, and they would like that life, maybe. But that does not mean that they would like to wake up at 5 a.m., to sing for 5 hours the same song, to go to the gym, So, yeah, first of all, learn about yourself. You think you have a passion, go and do it. Practice it. Do things outside of the school to make sure that it's truly a passion. And then research. Then once you learn about yourself, learn about the work and see how you can use that to be useful to people. And research about people that have done that and have been successful, and create a plan, right? This way, yes, you can, and you probably will, if you do the work, follow passion, and be stable.
That was an incredible description about purpose. I just loved every word of you about this thing, because the purpose, the three things you said, the work that serves the people, the work that you love, and the work that is really you are good at. And these three things, if we are doing, then that will be the real purpose of us, because we are getting everything out of it. And it was just lovely to hear from you about purpose. Okay, I was talking about that thing. It was really incredible description about purpose. The three pillars. The first, the thing we are good at. The thing which gives us happiness. And the thing which serves the people around us. If that thing is able to do all these three things, and then that definitely is our purpose, and it's gonna be the perfect thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was completely amazing description. And the purpose, I guess that's the thing which we miss. We need to learn about those things, because these things are really important, which will make ourselves to decide the differences between the things we do. What are the things which serves one of these three pillars, or serves two of these, and what are the things which serves all three of them? And when we finally reach out to that thing, that's what we need to find in our life and do the rest of life, because that will only give us happiness, which every person thrives for.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Go on. Are you finishing?
I don't know what to talk about this
No,
thing
no.
because
Oh,
everything
I
you
was just
explained it perfectly.
okay. Yeah, I was just gonna say, go a little back about the school showing us different things, but not teaching us how to think about those things, right? How to utilize the fact that we're experimenting. Because to learn what you like, what you're good at, you have to learn about the world first. Now, learning about the world, you learn about yourself, right? And yeah, the school exposes you to different things. Then you go to yourself, and this is school does not does. Thinking, learning how to think on what you like, what you're good at, and how you can serve people, and then you go back to learning about the world to see how you can use those things. So if you are one of those people that think you don't actually really like anything, or you're not really good at anything, it's probably because you haven't tried things enough. So if you know your passion, well, we've talked about that already. If you don't know, if you feel lost or numb about the things around you, then you gotta try more. You gotta expose yourself
Explore.
to more
Yeah.
possibilities. Explore. That's the word. You gotta explore, right? And exploring the world, you also learn about yourself. And then there's just a little thing I would like to wrap up the thing about following passion, having stability, true purpose, is that, again, I don't want this to be a romantic thing. So you gotta be aware as well of the downsides of following your passion, depending on what your passion is. Because as I said, yes, if you do all that work, the probability is that you are gonna have at least some stability. But stability does not equal lots of monetary success, does not equal luxury, right? So say, using the same example, you want to be a singer, you gotta know that you like that so much that you would spend those 5 hours every day researching the same song. But if you didn't become famous, if you just had enough to have a simple life, that would be enough, right?
Yeah.
You gotta be aware that that's a possibility. We're not saying here that you are gonna be the most successful people in the field, in your field.
Because success
things.
is a relative term, I think. Success is a
exactly.
relative term. It depends on person to person and profession to profession.
Precisely. You did it. You said it perfectly. It's relative. So yeah, keep that in mind as well. That's part of finding your purpose, right? If you think you are not ready to do those things, if you think it's not worth it to have a simpler life in name of doing that thing, then that is probably not your purpose yet. That is not something you can actually use that as your purpose, right? Because as we said, it's not something that exists and comes to you, something that you find through work.
Yeah. That was just perfect. I guess we shall wrap up now.
Yeah, I think so.
Because
another thing.
It was amazing thing.
It was an excellent conversation.
Well, it was an excellent conversation with Isaura. Thank you for being on my show and putting all the insights about purpose, the differences in the life goals and purpose, the difference between goals and purpose, how passion could be derived, how it is useless to follow the current education system, what is the role of our parents in these things and following our passion. It was just amazing to have you, and all the talk was just lit. Thank you so much. I'm gonna invite you again very soon.
Alright, I'm the one who thanks you, Siddharth. It was excellent being here. As you can see, I like to talk quite a bit. So I was really happy to have this opportunity. And talking to you is always a pleasure because you also spark ideas in my mind. So yeah, I'll be happy to be here again. Thank you again. It was awesome.
That was a lovely episode. It was great to talk with Isaura about education and life goals. Thank you so much for being present on my channel and listening to it so far. That's all for today. See you next time. Till then, stay sane and keep exploring. Bye bye.